And
Could you, if I might just and we'll have to do roll call for, to show presence.
okay, is Jeff online with us?
I am.
Okay, wrong Jeff.
Oh.
I'm online, yes.
The important Jeff. Roll call, Jeff.
Yes, roll call Jeff, because he'll have to manually call the roll till we get this rolling. So are we ready to start then? Everyone, please mute your microphones.
I cannot tell who all is on WebEx right now, but I think you are, everyone is present on the WebEx.
Okay, so I will call this meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Bobby to read the open court.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This meeting is being held pursuant to Executive Order 71, which was reiterated by Executive Order 73, issued by the Governor of the State of Tennessee. If there is no objection, the meeting will be held electronically due to the need to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the Synergy. Without objection, we'll proceed in that manner. Hearing no objections, all members must be able to hear the chairman and each other. If you cannot hear the other members, please notify the chairman immediately. All votes will be done by roll call, and when you speak to a matter, please identify yourself. This meeting is available to the public on Public Access TV and is streaming live on YouTube. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. At this time, we will have our invocation by Commissioner Jerry Rainey and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Dana Osbrooks. Commissioner Rainey, are you there? I am not seeing him. Commissioner Ricky Jones, would you do the invocation, please?
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings that you have given us. We ask that you be with us as county commissioners tonight as we go about our county's business. We also at this time, dear Lord, ask you to be with our country and give us a sense of calm and peace and be with our leaders of this country. And we ask that you be with us always. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Would you please rise, and as we say the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay, I need everyone to please mute your microphones. Please mute your microphones. At this time, we have approval of the minutes. We have a roll call. Jeff, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Aiello.
Aiello present.
Commissioner Osbrooks.
Osbrooks present.
Commissioner Bill.
Commissioner Bill present.
Commissioner Bethard.
Commissioner Bethard present.
Commissioner Chalfant.
Commissioner Chalfant present.
Commissioner Herbert.
Herbert present.
Commissioner Hester.
Hester present.
All right. Commissioner Hudson. Commissioner Hudson. Commissioner Dwight Jones.
Commissioner Dwight Jones present.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones present.
Commissioner Landrum,
Commissioner Landrum here.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Commissioner Lawrence here.
Commissioner Little,
Little here.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers here.
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Mason, present.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton here.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations present.
Commissioner Rainey, Commissioner Smith,
Smith present.
Commissioner Story,
Story present.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon present.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb present.
Commissioner Williams,
Williams present.
Commissioner Hudson. And Commissioner Rainey.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hudson is shown as being present. I don't know if he's having mic problems or what, but he is shown on the WebEx as being on board.
Yes, ma'am. And also, it looked like that it said that Commissioner Rainey joined the meeting afterwards. I just wanted to check back.
I'm on right now. If you can hear me, Jerry Rainey.
Yes, sir. We can. Thank you, sir. Okay. With if we include Commissioner Hudson, we have 24 present.
All right, thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes. Jeff Mosley, do we need to do a roll call vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Approval of the minutes. Entertain a motion to approve of the minutes.
Smith motion to approve. Story second.
Commissioner Smith, the motion. Commissioner Story, the second. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Commissioner Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Commissioner Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester, Commissioner Hester, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones, Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones present.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
And I saw Commissioner Hudson in the chat put yes. And I did not hear from Commissioner Hester. So I have 23 yes and no vote from Commissioner Hester. I didn't hear a vote.
Betsy, are you online?
It showed her earlier And at one time we had her as speaking before we got to her, but I never heard an answer. I see that she's online. Microphone's muted.
Commissioner Hester, can you unmute and tell us whether you're a yes or no on minutes?
Yes, on minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. 24 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Next is calls for citizens communications. Since we have no method for citizens communication at this time, we will suspend, without objection, we will suspend that part of the agenda. Everyone, please mute. We're still getting a lot of feedback, so if everyone would please mute. This time we will move on to communications and messages, and I'll call on Mayor Rogers Anderson. Mayor, are you there?
Oh, I just talking away, Tommy. I didn't realize I was muted. Welcome to all the commissioners and welcome to 2021 and the avenue of electronics. Maybe in the next few months we'll be able to get back together. We'll see how that works out. So tonight on the program, Nina's voice fades in and out, so Phoebe will be handling the snapshot of the county and where we are since our last meeting in November from a financial standpoint. And then following that, I have asked Todd Horton, our emergency manager director, who's overseeing a lot of the vaccines and the COVID testing, along with Kathy Montgomery, and Kathy will be speaking tonight too. So, Mr. Chairman, without going back to you, I'll just shift it over to Phoebe to give us a snapshot of where we are financially since the November or into this current fiscal year. Phoebe? Well, I went through all that. How about it, Nina?
Phoebe is on as well, Rogers. Not sure what the problem is. She and Nina are both on the meeting.
Yeah, I saw. Either one of you want to jump in? If you don't, I'm going to give a real short brief. And
I
Rob,
can, Mayor. Can you hear me?
yes.
In the reports tonight, your October and November budget reports. There's nothing unusual for any of those months to report to you on those. For the month of October on our privilege tax collections, it was a little over 1.4 million. For the month of November, 1.1 million. On the impact fee report, get to that. If you'll notice, under the month of November 2020, we have reclassified the protested funds. The lawsuit was settled, so those are reclassified into available funds. Total collections life to date is 67.6 million. And total net collections available to apply to projects is 37.4 million. On the Cool Springs Conference Center reports for the month of October and November, we did have losses. October was $28,058. The month of November was $32,908. We do have a CT 0253 form. Jeff, if you could please make sure, get this in the minutes that this was presented to the commission. This is for the schools, Dell Capital Lease Program for their computers for a total of $564,669.44, an interest rate of 3.1139%, and that is over a 3-year period. That's all of my reports, unless you have any questions.
Tommy, are there any questions to Nina?
I do not see anything under chat, so.
All right. So before I turn it over to Todd Horton, all of you know Todd. I want to commend him and all of his people. Many of you are seeing a lot of correspondence going out. That's through the efforts of Hannah Bleem, but there's an awful lot of people putting in that information. Between Todd and Kathy, you all should feel very, very proud of these two people and their entire staff for what they are doing for Williamson County and the actions. And I think you'll enjoy hearing what Todd's got to say. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As there's been a lot of technical difficulties tonight, I just want to ensure that I can be heard. Thank you. I appreciate that. So thanks, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon, commissioners. The Emergency Management Agency is actively responding to this pandemic, and we have been since the first case occurred right here in Williamson County for the state of Tennessee many months ago. Our role in this pandemic is multifaceted, with a focus on supporting the efforts of the dedicated men and women of our local health department who are working tirelessly to meet the needs of our community through testing and now through vaccinations. I'd like to highlight a few of our actions for you tonight. This past week, we opened a call center to support the volume of inquiries coming in from the public. With the governor's announcement that individuals age 75 and older are now eligible to receive the vaccine, it is imperative that we provided this population with the support they need. So the call center serves three main purposes. First, it provides a single number where Williamson County residents can get information that is specific to them and the processes that are occurring here locally. Information surrounding the vaccine, its availability, the vaccination dates and hours, when individuals are eligible, and other related information is changing at a rapid pace. Oftentimes, before we can publish the information, it's already changed, and the public doesn't have time to consume it. The call center helps facilitate the most up-to-date information available at the time someone is seeking help. Secondly, while many people have access to computers and other technological devices, others do not. And even some who have these devices still find it difficult to locate the information they need or to navigate the process to sign up for a vaccination. The call center is equipped to assist these individuals by registering them and ensuring that follow-up information is provided to them with a phone call. Finally, the call center helps to take the burden off the local health department, the mayor's office, other county departments, and our city and town departments who would otherwise be fielding calls for the community. Our call center for information purposes is staffed Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and can be reached by calling 615-595-4880. The call center is primarily staffed by health department employees, and they are supplemented with staff from a few county departments like our Parks and Recreation staff and our Juvenile Services staff, just to name a couple. And we are grateful for all of the contributions that our county departments have made in helping us manage this pandemic. In addition, we have support from the city of Franklin, who also helps with staffing at the call center. Just a couple of statistics from the call center. Since it opened last Tuesday, we've received over 3,000 calls. This past Friday alone, the center received 483 calls. 470 of those were answered, while 13 calls were not answered because the caller that was placed on hold hung up. And the average time that a caller was on hold before they hung up was under 2 minutes. And the most anyone stayed on hold was 8 minutes. So our call center is very effective in processing calls, and we encourage anyone that's put on hold to just wait a few minutes and your call will be answered and your problems will be met. Our agency is also responsible for the creation and coordination of public information, including through media releases, social media channels, through our text opt-in system, and through our mass notification system. And we do this by coordinating with public information officers representing at least 10 stakeholders in our county. In addition to the call center, my agency is responsible for establishing and maintaining traffic patterns and flow at the Ag Center, which is the vaccination and testing site. This includes message boards management as well as cone and jersey barrier management. And we are grateful for the support of the City of Franklin for the use of several message boards and barriers to help accomplish this. Our agency is also responsible for assisting private healthcare agencies to receive personal protective equipment when they are unable otherwise to procure it on their own. We do this by processing orders to the state government and to the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, who is stockpiling a number of personal protective equipment to be able to help those in need. Our agency also created and manages, along with the assistance from the local health department, the sign-up process and the scheduling of vaccinations. We participate in weekly conference calls with both Williamson County department heads and elected officials of various county departments to keep them informed and abreast of what's taking place. Twice a week, we conduct web conferences with various stakeholders, including city and town leaders, Visit Franklin, Williamson, Inc., emergency services agencies, Williamson Medical Center, and other partners, again, to share information one with another and to ensure that we all understand the process that's taking place and how we play a role in it. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, this is a summation of our activities, and I thank you for the opportunity to brief you this evening.
Tommy, that concludes my report. I'll try to answer any questions, or if anybody wants to specifically ask Todd a question, feel free to. Kathy will be on in a couple of reports now.
Thank you. I was going to skip and ask if Kathy wanted to go ahead and give her report right after Todd, and then we'll come back to schools and the others. Kathy, are you there?
Absolutely. Yes, I am. Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity. And while Todd gave a great summation, I have to tell you that it was extremely short compared to the number of services that his department certainly provides our agency and other agencies. Just a little brief summation that currently the health department, in preparation for implementing COVID vaccinations, we have reduced our testing times out at the Ag Center from 8:30 to 10:30 Monday through Friday. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we are offering self-test kits, which are through the Everly Wells Company, where we're distributing kits to individuals for them to self-test themselves, and then we're collecting those kits to take to UPS in the afternoons. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we actually conduct the PCR testing that we've been doing since April for individuals. That's also completed 8:30 to 10:30. On any given day, we're still averaging anywhere from 300 to 400 tests per day. As we start to move into vaccinations, which started on December the 21st, the health department's actually received a little more than 4,300 doses of vaccine, of which about 3,000 of those have been given to our local county residents. The state actually took about 800 of those doses and moved them to other counties that were running short on supply and did not receive them, but also had individuals scheduled. And then we're also working with a team of strike team nurses that are actually going out to our intellectual disabled and developmentally disabled individuals to provide vaccinations as well. So we've given approximately 120 of those doses to them. We anticipate receiving a few more doses tomorrow from Pfizer to implement for the rest of the week. And certainly I will tell you that we are gearing up for our first round of second doses that'll start around the 18th of January, and the last 2 weeks of January are really dedicated to providing those second dose vaccines. I will state that the region and the state has executed a system for implementing those second doses or scheduling those second doses, which will be utilizing a QR code for individuals who start. It actually started last Friday. So when they come through for their COVID vaccination, they'll be able to scan this QR code, and certainly we're there to assist our senior populations as well. They'll be able to scan that QR code and go ahead and access a calendar for them to go ahead and schedule their second dose. As Todd mentioned, they have been scheduling both our first and our second doses that we've currently been implemented. And I will say that our schedule of first doses we have available through January the 20th. Of course, that is based on vaccine availability. Currently, individuals in 1A1, 1A2, and 75 and over, so that would be our healthcare providers, our first responders, and our 75 plus, are being asked to go ahead and register for a COVID vaccine. And when I say register, that's just to be on a priority wait list. So they're going to the state website, they're registering to be on that priority wait list, and individuals at the call center as well as our local health department are helping those individuals that don't have either access to the system or maybe just don't have really good access to technology, and we're helping them to enroll. So what's going to occur in the future is that when the health department has first doses available, when we have vaccine available, we're going to be opening up appointment slots, and we'll be notifying the state and our regional health office. So for example, if we have 250 spots available, appointment slots, the state will look at who has registered and look at that priority wait list and move 250 individuals into those appointment slots and notify them that they do have appointments and are scheduled for a COVID vaccine. And currently, I think we have close to about 4,000, unfortunately, individuals that are already registered that have not yet received a vaccine. But again, we are being notified on a weekly basis when vaccines are available. Vaccine times right now, we are vaccinating 5 days a week from 12:30 to 4. And I believe that's my report right now, except unless there's anything that maybe Todd wants to add, wants to include.
Thank you. Any questions?
This is Commissioner Lathers. Could I ask Kathy a quick question?
Sure.
Thanks. Kathy, do you have any idea of when the state's going to open it up more for like local pharmacies or local providers to take some of the pressure off of our county health department?
Commissioner, we have not been privy to that information yet. I will tell you that right now we do have local providers, and like our FQHC and so forth, Mercy, they've all been applying to be a local provider in our community as well as other providers in the state. I think it's really just based on vaccine availability at this point when they'll become a local provider.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And the other thing I think they're assessing for as well is whether or not providers are going to be able to maintain the vaccine. Certainly with Pfizer, we've already, heard a lot about the complexity and experience that, with the dry ice and having to keep it frozen for a period of time, as well as what the shelf life is for it. So I think they're really doing a lot of assessments on that as well. And then Commissioner, if it's okay, I can go ahead and answer Commissioner Webb's question that was in the chat. So with both Pfizer and Moderna, they are 2-dose vaccines. So with the Pfizer vaccination, the second dose is required within 21 days of the first dose. And with Moderna, it is required within 28 days of the first dose. I don't know if that answers your question, but it is a 2-dose vaccination.
Is the volume or is the medicine of the vaccine the same? You're just getting 2 shots of the same volume, the same everything. Okay, that was the second part of that question. It was just the same. You're getting 2 doses of the same thing. It's either
Correct.
Moderna or Pfizer. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kathy, this is Bert Chalfant. I was just curious. Both my wife and I have been registered. Just don't know how far down the line we are, but we're anxiously anticipating getting a call.
Commissioner Osbrooks, I think you had a question.
I do. I want to say thank you to both Kathy and Todd. The number one question I have received from constituents in the 70-year-old plus is how do they register? And so if I'm understanding correctly right now, 75-year-old plus can call in to the call center and you will help them register for vaccinations. Am I understanding that correctly?
Currently, Commissioner, what they can do is call into that call center, and what they'll do is they'll register them for that priority wait list. And that's what we're also doing at the health department. But we really encourage people to try to go through that call center if possible.
Okay. And then if they are not for my constituents that are 65 plus or the 70 plus, I know that's the next group. They cannot yet sign up for the priority wait list. Is that correct?
That's correct. That priority wait list is only reserved for first responders, healthcare workers, and 75 plus.
But is the plan, one last question, is the plan once 70 plus can register that they would also have the opportunity to call the call center and be on a priority wait list as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Definitely.
Okay. And I appreciate y'all doing that. I've had a lot of constituents, quite honestly, a lot of neighbors who aren't tech savvy, who are anxious to get on the list. And I appreciate y'all giving them an opportunity to do that instead of having to rely on technology as the only source. So thank you.
And let me also add that we understand that the state limits those who can register now to the eligible group, but also on our website, and you can follow our website at williamsonready.org and click on the banner for vaccine update information. There are 2 ways that people can presently sign up for the vaccination if they want to do it on their own. One is if you're eligible, you can use the state's website for the priority wait list. But if you're not presently eligible, you can sign up using our Survey Monkey link. And that's for anybody who is not currently eligible. What that will allow us to do is when your population, when your age group, or when your other eligible you become eligible otherwise, we will notify you that you are now eligible to receive the vaccine, and we will provide you information on the process that you can go through, because the process may change between now and the time other groups are eligible. So by signing up now, people do not have to be responsible for continually checking back to see if they're eligible or not. They can go ahead and sign up, and we will notify them when they become eligible. We encourage you to do that on either link. If people do not have the opportunity to do that themselves, the call center is set up to help facilitate them signing up on either of those 2.
Football game. It's tied at 7.
Okay, somebody is not muted, and we're hearing them talk about the ball game. If there's no other questions, we'll move on with county reports, and we'll go to Director Golden. Yes, Jennifer, you have a question?
Well, in the chat log, Commissioner Morton is ahead of me. I'm after him.
Commissioner Mason, always so polite. Kathy, I was going to ask, are we seeing any evidence of this new variant of the coronavirus in Tennessee or in Williamson County? And is that affecting any of our analysis on how we're approaching this?
The health department has not been alerted of any variant of the new virus. No, sir. Not at this time. We haven't been alerted.
All right. That take care of you, Commissioner Morton? All right, Commissioner Mason.
Yes, thank you. I also would like to thank Todd and Kathy. I know they've put in a tremendous amount of work and time, and from all the reports I've been getting, things have been going smoothly once people are getting there. And so that's a really great thing. So thank you guys for all your hard work. My question is, I have heard about other counties doing a rapid response list, meaning at the end of the day, if there are doses that need to be put in somebody's arm or they're going to go to waste, that they're developing lists for people to get there quickly. Does Williamson County have a plan to enact any type of list like that in the future for those that maybe aren't eligible but are high risk and they want to go ahead and kind of be on call, so to say?
Thanks, Commissioner Mason. I would answer that by saying that we are very methodical in managing our list throughout the day and trying to ensure that we use every vaccine dose that we have available to us. And in order to manage that from a traffic point of view, out at the site and a flow of people through the site, it's imperative that we maintain strict control. So we're constantly watching the list of people who show up that are signed up and those who aren't able to make it for one reason or another. And we have plenty of people from our wait list that's already been established to call. And that's the way we must continue to manage it moving forward.
Thank you both.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Hester. You're muted, Commissioner Hester.
I just wanted to ask how many vaccinations you're able to give an hour. And I want to, I want to thank Kathy and Todd, please.
Commissioner Hester, I think I heard your question. I think you asked how many vaccinations are we given an hour?
Yes, sir.
And if that was your question, we're averaging about 80 vaccinations an hour.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Betsy, can you mute your microphone?
Are
there any other questions? Seeing none, Director Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to echo what so many of you have said and thank the Health Department and EMA and, of course, their leaders. You've gotten a glimpse into the complexity of what they're working through. We, as school staff, are actually 1B on the list, and as I understand it, we come behind 70-year-olds, and we're working with those two county entities to make sure that we're prepared for some of those very reasons that you mentioned in your question, so that our teachers can get vaccinated just as quickly as they can. We believe that that's going to make a difference for us. It's not going to solve every issue. We know that anyone under the age of 16 right now, from the medical professionals' information, can't get vaccinated. But for us, staffing and making sure our staff increases their safety is a very very important item to us and very critical to us. Also, some of you have sent some questions here and there, and I actually sent you an email that gave a basic answer as to the decision-making process we go through in having students on campus or off, and also gave you some detail of that so that you can get a glimpse of the complexity of that process that we're going through. And thematically, I think that's what we're seeing even from the time this commission meeting started. It's really amazing how complex everything that you all and are working through. I will tell you, in that context, for us being able to open schools back this fall and to make decisions as to whether students should be remote or on campus, those entities that you support have made a huge difference for us. We have made it a point to focus on the goal we talked about 6, 7, 8 months ago, that if we can safely be on campus and staff our schools on campus, we will do that, because we know and believe that for just about every student, for most students, on-campus instruction is better. But we know that that hasn't always worked. When we started out this school year, we started with most of our students remote for the first 2 weeks. We were able to get enough information from the health department about our cases specifically, those in the WCS community and the community at large, to the point where we concluded that we could go on campus this fall. We also knew that there were going to be some specific situations at every campus, potentially, where we were not going to be able to maintain that every day. And so we went through most of the fall with most of our schools on campus and having to shift to remote if the case numbers, the quarantines, the student attendance, and our staffing reached a point where we could not have them on campus, either for the whole school or sometimes, especially at the elementary grades, grade levels, if we were not able to staff or whole classrooms were quarantined. When we hit Thanksgiving break, after being out, after our students being out a week, we actually started a number of our grade levels remote again. And then we learned that based on that holiday, the impact after a week was such that we could return. Last week, we did something very similar and started remote last week. It was actually a partial week. That was some of the detail that you saw in us making that decision, and then making a decision late last week that we would start on campus this week based on everything we saw. And I think you all know that over the course of the last semester, there have been times where the health department has seen the cases in particular areas of our county, especially, they were impacting us, and we had the potential to be impacting the community. They've actually asked us to go remote from time to time. And I want to thank them for working with us through that. But as we sit right now, weather notwithstanding, our schedule is to be on campus this week. We're of course monitoring the weather. We had a lot of snow early this morning, and it's amazing how easy those weather decisions seem to be after going through COVID for the past 9 months. But again, we're actually checking tonight, just double checking the roads to see if our buses can make it safely this coming morning. And so we continue to monitor that as well. With all that said, as we go into next semester, we anticipate that there will still be some spots where positive cases affect our ability to staff, or positive cases affect our students. The Commissioner of Health at the very beginning of this school year said there will be positive cases in schools, just as there are in the community. And our experience is that by and large, we reflect the community. That the percentage of our population on campus, generally speaking, has reflected the percentage of positive cases. That currently isn't the case. We're actually a little lower. And that is, we expect that that's in part because we have had a holiday break. But that's going to be a regular thing for us. Again, the vaccines, when we're able to get those, when those vaccines become available at our county, we believe that'll make a big difference, and we'll be able to stay on campus a little bit more. So I describe that to you as commissioners, because I know you're very interested, and you do get questions just as our board does, or at least a portion of those questions that our board gets. What I typically talk about when I come before you is finance issues. and because you, of course, are our funding body, and we thank you for that. We have 2 items on your agenda. One is a transfer of funds to our food service department, which on paper and generally speaking is a self-sustaining fund, but is having substantive and scheduling issues this year as a result of COVID-19. So that particular proposal is designed to see them through that, with every dollar that goes to food service returned to the general fund when they can repay it. We also have one other item that's more housekeeping in nature. Also, you know that from time to time over the course of this COVID event, we've talked about funding that might be available from state or federal sources. We do know that President Trump signed on December 27th what we are calling ESSER 2.0. The State Department of Education has given us some basic updates and some planning for us to start analyzing where we might be able to use some of the money that's projected for us. The deadline for the spending on that is in 2023. So we don't have a lot of detail right now, but we anticipate that there'll be some funds from the federal government over and above what we've gotten to this point. The estimate is an estimate. It's going to be, we anticipate somewhere around $2.3 million that we hope will help with the school's bottom line as a result of COVID-19. But again, it's an estimate. We don't have any details yet, but I wanted to make sure you, our funding body, were aware that we're looking to receive some funds. And our goal has been to reimburse or pay for those items that were caused by COVID. Rather than do something new. And that's going to continue to be a focus of ours because we want to make sure we're fiscally conservative in what we're doing. Final thing I'd like to do in my report is introduce to you Rachel Farmer. She's participating here with us on this WebEx. I introduced her to our Finance Committee. Leslie Holman has officially retired. And I think you all knew that she had been talking about that and been planning on that. She's officially retired, but she will be helping us through this budget year for sure. She's committed to that. Rachel is one of the accountants who's been with us for a long time. She actually has a background of auditing school systems early in her career. In my experience, that helps when somebody has that experience from the other perspective. So I would like to introduce Rachel to you. Of course, at the Education and Finance Committee, she'll spend more time answering your questions. And we, of course, always want to be a resource to you for questions that you have. And Mr. Chair, that's my report. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Lawrence.
Good evening, Jason. I just have a couple of questions. So I passed by Centennial today, and it looked like they were not open. Were they closed today?
Yes, sir. We were closed about 4:30 this morning. We saw the projections from the weather services that we were going to catch some snow a little bit on the south side in the corner of the county. So we announced at about 5 a.m. that we were going to have a 2-hour delay. By about 7, we were getting overwhelmed with precipitation. Well, let's be specific. It was snowing like crazy in the south, and it was affecting roads all the way up to Franklin. So we did close for weather today. Yes.
Okay. So I guess my question is, you mentioned that now you're going to more of a isolation type of shutdown based off of the different schools. So as we get more of the vaccine available for the teachers and staff, how do you view that impacting shutdown? Or I guess my first question was, are shutdowns being more prominent for the lack of staff or because of students having to go out on quarantine?
Well, we've been doing remote on those days where we can't be on campus either as a whole at grade levels or at particular schools. So we have had school every day other than in inclement weather days. We actually have 10 built into our calendar. We used 2 of those 10 just last Friday and today. So our plan does not call for a total shutdown of schools, but calls for remote instruction. Our campuses, even on those remote days, actually do have a number of students on the campuses. Students with disabilities, students who don't have internet access are coming onto the campus, and we're maintaining social distancing. But to specifically answer your question, it's hard to know for sure. The health department might be able to help us with this, but I project, based on my experience this year, that the more widespread the vaccine is for our staff and some of our older students, the more often we'll be able to stay on campus. But more important, the safer our staff is going to be with that protection from the virus. It's been a mix for what's caused individual schools to go off campus. We've had some elementary campuses where one positive case ends up with the health department quarantining an entire class, and we've had to close a grade level based on that. That's happened a lot at the elementary school. At the high school, we've had examples of sometimes in 3 figures, a student has been exposed to others because of their participation in individual extracurricular activities, plus their exposure in class based on the health department review of quarantines. But we have also had some situations where teachers have been exposed, and we haven't been able to get enough substitutes based on those teachers who were quarantined or with positive cases. We haven't analyzed the percentage, but it has been both that have hit us fairly regularly this past semester.
Okay, so if they get the vaccine, does that eliminate the need for quarantine?
Kathy Montgomery may speak to that specifically, but my understanding is it will not, in and of itself, eliminate quarantine. At some point, the health department, I anticipate, will make a decision that quarantines are done. I don't know where that is. We're at an early stage from our side. We don't make the quarantine decisions, but what we do is warn individuals that they have had that close contact exposure. What I've seen in secondary sources and from the communications from medical authorities is that they anticipate there will come a time once that vaccine is widespread that the quarantine process will end. We're hoping and waiting for that. But for our purposes, we anticipate that when we hit 1B, where our staff can get it, there will still be a quarantine period because the governor moved us up a little earlier in the schedule. So my anticipation is that it will go beyond the time that our folks can get that vaccine.
Kathy, can you answer that question or add a little more clarity to it? Is Kathy Montgomery still on?
I'm here, Commissioner.
Okay.
We have not seen the guidance yet on quarantine after vaccination, so I might have to defer this question and provide a response later after I'm able to reach out to our regional health officer.
Okay, that's all my questions tonight. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Kathy.
Commissioner Lathers. Okay, all right. So any other questions of Director Golden? Seeing none, moving on to hospital report. Do we have somebody from the hospital on?
Yeah, this is Paul Boland, CFO for Williamson Medical Center. You'll find in your packet the financials for both October and November. We did not beat budget. Year to date, we are making a profit. It's very difficult these days. So many elective surgeries have been canceled at different points. But frankly, we're doing better than I expected financially. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Thank you, Paul. Seeing none. Is there any other reports that I have missed? Seeing none. Moving on with elections and appointments. First up is Adjustment and Appeals Board, 4-year term expiring in January of 2025. We have an architect position, term expiring Josh Hughes, nomination Josh Hughes. Engineer position, term expiring Glenn Adams, nomination Glenn Adams. Building industry representative, term expiring Ron Crutcher, nomination Ron Crutcher. Will entertain a motion.
Lathers, move for approval.
Smith, second.
Commissioner Lathers, the motion. Commissioner Smith, the second. Are there any questions? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello, Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Commissioner Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Commissioner Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Commissioner Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Commissioner Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Williams, yes.
and Commissioner Aiello. I didn't hear an answer. Commissioner Aiello. So I have 23 yes, 0 no. I didn't hear anything from Commissioner Aiello.
Okay. Nominations are approved. Agricultural Committee, 2-year term expiring in January of 23. Farm woman position, term expiring Judy Herbert. Nomination Amy Tavelin. Farmer position.
Little,
Yes.
Chairman Little, pardon me.
Yes.
If we could, we would need to forego the Ag Committee elections and appointments this evening. That'll come back on your February County Commission.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got you on that. All right. Jeff, did you hear Commissioner Aiello? That'll give us 24, I believe.
Yes, sir. 24 yes, 0 no.
All right. Skipping to Stormwater. Stormwater Appeals Board, 3-year term expiring in January of 24. Building Contractor Representative Robert Adams Jr. Nomination Robert Adams Jr. Agricultural Representative, term expiring John Kinney. Nomination John Kinney. Engineering Representative, term expiring Andy Reese. Nomination Andy Reese. Entertain a motion.
So moved. Commissioner Hester.
Smith, second.
Commissioner Hester, the motion. Commissioner Smith, the second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aiello, Commissioner Aiello, Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Commissioner Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Commissioner Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Williams, yes.
and Commissioner Aiello.
Aiello, yes.
Thank you, sir. 24 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Nominations approved. Next, we have our consent agenda. We'll entertain a motion.
Smith motion.
Story, second.
Commissioner Smith, the motion, Commissioner Story, the second. Call.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Commissioner Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
24 yes, 0 no.
Consent agenda passes. Next, we have a public hearing regarding Resolution 1-21-3. Resolution to amend Article 19, Article 23, and Section 13.05 of the Williamson County zoning ordinance regarding flood hazard regulations. At this time, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone there to speak?
Mr. Chairman, this is Joe Horn. I am in the auditorium and we have no one here to speak tonight.
Thank you, sir. Seeing that there's no one there to speak, we will now close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. Resolution 1-21-3. Resolution to amend Article 19, Article 23, and Section 13.05 of the Williamson County zoning ordinance regarding flood hazard regulations. Commissioner Lathers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Commission was 11-0.
Need a motion.
Move for approval.
Do we have a second?
Smith, second.
Commissioner Smith, the second. Planning Commission was 11-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we have County Engineer Floyd Heflin here, who could provide a good technical description for us.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. This is Floyd. These maps were issued in a preliminary form in May of 2019 for a 90-day appeal period by FEMA. They received no appeals. They were delayed by COVID, but we were notified in late August of 2020 that we needed to adopt these by the end of this or the end of February 26th. These apply to the Sycamore Lower Cumberland watershed, which is Mill Creek and Owl Creek. It really doesn't affect anything we're doing in the unincorporated county. It affects the city of Nolensville. It affects the city of Brentwood, but it won't affect the property owners in the unincorporated county. And we're also consolidating our flood ordinance in Article 19, so it's all in one place. The state kind of wanted us to incorporate some new definitions, and so we've done that, and we've made it, put it all in one place, so we would appreciate your approval.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrook,
Allsbrick, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant,
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon, Commissioner Sturgeon,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So I have 24 yes and 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-1. Resolution transferring up to $2 million general purpose school funds to the Central Cafeteria Fund for the purpose of providing money for a sufficient cash balance in the Central Cafeteria Fund. Commissioner Webb?
Move for approval.
Story, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Story, the second. School Board was 11-4, 0 no. Education was 7 yes, 0 no. Budget Committee was 5 yes, 0 no. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, the school director alluded to this in the sense that due to the pandemic and not everyone being in school to eat at the cafeteria, they're having a cash flow issue. So they're asking that this be forwarded to the cafeteria so they can keep operations. This has been approved through the controller's office that went through by the school finance department as well as our county budget director. So we recommend approval. This will be paid back perhaps from CARES funds or other funds generated through the cafeteria fund. Mr. Golden and Rachel are on the line if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions?
Commissioner Story, quick question.
All right, go ahead, please.
So, Jason, real quick, do we have just a timeline, or is this this fiscal year or any further? I mean, did they give us any idea of a timeline of when it would be reimbursed?
Well, thank you. We anticipate that based on our projections, it won't be in this fiscal year. and that's why we put it in this format. What we have experienced in the past, other than this year, is that the food service fund usually operates with a net positive. They have typically put some of that in towards capital improvement, but our intent is for when those net positives come, plus the funding from the USDA, that it does go back.
Thank you all.
Any other questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason,
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe, Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
And I did not hear Commissioner Hudson. Looks like you're on, the mic's muted. I'm not sure. And also, I know that Commissioner Tunnicliffe lost connection. So with that, I have 22 yes, 0 no, and 2 absent. I guess Commissioner Tunnicliffe and Commissioner Hudson.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-2. Resolution requesting an intercategory transfer to place funds in the correct category. Commissioner Webb,
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Herbert the second, Commissioner Smith the motion. School board was 11-4-0 against. Education committee was 7-4-0 against. Budget committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, this is simply a transfer to place funds in the proper category. Again, Mr. Golden and Ms. Farmer are on the line if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff, Commissioner Tunnicliff, Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
All right, I have 22 yes and 2 out, Commissioner Tunnicliff and Commissioner Hudson.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-4. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Election Commission budget by $56,185. Revenues to come from state grant funds via the CARES Act. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
This is funds from the CARES Act to use to refund the county for extra costs used during this election, during the pandemic. I'm not sure if there's anyone from the Election Commission on here, but I think we can answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Ayala, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff, Commissioner Tunnicliff, Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
All right, so I have 22 yes, 2 out, Commissioner Hudson and Commissioner Tunnicliff out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-5. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an agreement with the State of Tennessee, Department of State, Tennessee State Library and Archives, and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Archives budget by $4,993. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Herbert, the second. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is a grant from the Tennessee State Library for our archives development here at the county archives. Does not require any matching funds. I did not see the grant, so I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be used for, but this is a grant with no matching funds of $4,993.
Are there any questions? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Ayala, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon, Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Commissioner Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So I have 23 yes, 1 out. Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-6. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 animal control budget by $10,000. Revenues to come from donation from Friends of Animal Control. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Osborne, second.
Commissioner Osbrook's the second. Commissioner Webb the motion. Public Health Committee was 4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is a $10,000 donation to be used for the extended vet and the spay neuter program at the animal shelter.
Any questions?
Mrs. Johnson is on the line if anyone has any questions.
Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Commissioner Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
23 yes, 1 out. Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-7. Resolution accepting a donation of $5,000 to be used for maintenance of the Sheriff's Office gun range and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Williamson County Sheriff's Office budget. Revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Lathers, second.
Commissioner Lathers the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety is 6-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, this is a donation from the City of Brentwood Police Department to the Sheriff's Office as a contribution to the firing range, which City of Brentwood police officers have been using.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
23 yes and 1 out. Commissioner Hudson, out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-8. Resolution accepting a conditional donation of $1,000 from GFWC Brentwood Franklin Women's Service Club to be used to purchase canine supplies and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Williamson County Sheriff's Office budget by $1,000. Revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Herbert,
Rainey
second.
seconds.
Commissioner Rainey, the second. I believe we have an amendment for this one. Commissioner Smith, do you have that ready?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The amendment, I believe, and Diane or someone can correct me, is that we need to be amending the 2021 Williamson County Drug Fund budget by $1,000, not the sheriff's office budget. So if Jamie has that in the correct verbiage, that's the intent. These funds for canine supplies need to go to the drug fund.
We need to change it in the heading and change it in the therefore be it resolved. Change sheriff's
Yes.
office to drug fund in both places.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Webb, second.
Questions on the amendment? Again, changing sheriff's office budget to drug fund budget and changing the therefore be it resolved to from Williams County Drug Fund. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
So 23 yes and 1 out. Commissioner Hudson out.
The amendment passes. Now back to the resolution as amended. Are there any questions on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Commissioner Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So 23 yes and 1 out. Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-9. Resolution correcting Resolution 11-20-11 as approved for grant funding for the Williamson County Library and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 library budget by $2,284. Commissioner Webb,
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion, Commissioner Herbert, the second. Library Board was 7-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is a correction from a resolution we passed in November. Further review of this looked at this does require a match, and so we're asking for the approval again of the $2,284 grant, which does require a match, which will come out of the library funds.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story, Commissioner Story.
Yes.
All right, thanks, sir. Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
All right, I have 23 yes and 1 out. Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-10. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-2021 county general budget of $78,330.84. Revenues to come from victim assessment fees. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Herbert, the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 4-0 against and 1 abstain. Budget Committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
These are fees that have been collected. They are to assist victims of crimes, their families or survivors. We do have Attorney General Helper on the line if anyone has any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrook,
Allsbrook, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, abstain.
okay, Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon, Commissioner Sturgeon,
yes.
thank you, ma'am.
Sturgeon, yes.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So I have 22 yes, 1 abstain, and 1 out. Commissioner Mason abstained, Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-11. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 property management budget by $36,213.26 for costs associated with the approval of 2 additional property management positions, revenues to come from unappropriated county general fund balance. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Herbert, the second. Human Resources Committee was 6-0 against as amended. Budget Committee was 5-0 against as written. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, this is the property department is asking for these 2 folks that are part-time now to be added to full-time, and the benefits are shown here. And we can go into the detail. These are folks who have been working extra hard due to the pandemic and the extra requirements. We do have Mr. Weber on here, can explain this much better than I can as far as the detail goes, but the numbers there are for this fiscal year.
Are there any questions?
Kevin is on here as well, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Human Resources had an amendment. Do they want to make the amendment, or do we want to go with it as written?
I'm sorry, Chair. I was trying to chat in, and for some reason I can't. This is Commissioner Bill.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
It was amended, as I recall, out of Human Resources. It was amended simply because they had stated at Human Resources that they needed the extra, they were getting extra time because of the additional workload of COVID, that they weren't sure if they were going to need the additional manpower come June, and we were just going to wait until the next fiscal year to see if they actually needed the positions at that time. I believe that's why the amendment was offered.
Yeah, and Mr. Webb, Commissioner Webb, you want to, I don't know, because the Budget Committee took it as a whole. Mayor, would you want to speak to this, or does somebody else want to speak to it, or?
Mr. Chair, the explanation was that the expectation is these positions will continue after July 1st into the next fiscal year. When budget discussed it, we decided that we wanted to give these employees full benefits rather than just the health department, health insurance. You can see if you look on their full benefits, the only difference amounts to retirement. Like I say, Kevin is on the line, and his comments at budget were that he felt like that because the pandemic is probably going to continue on beyond July 1st, that these employees will be used then. And so I will defer to Kevin as far as the use of the employees beyond July 1st, and to Mr. Weber on any questions about the benefits.
Okay. All right.
Can I get
any other?
Can Kevin confirm that these employees are expected to be continue on past July 1st?
Good evening, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I definitely can use these individuals in a continued full-time capacity at the conclusion of the pandemic, as the county facility is under security watch 24/7, 365 days a year. They would just fill in gaps that, or fill the gaps that I continually struggle with on part-timers. But again, they would be continued use in that capacity because we foresee no stop in the full 365 days usage at the county center. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none and not hearing that the amendment has been made, I assume you're ready to vote. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrook,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
I have 23 yes, 1 out, Commissioner Hudson out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-12, resolution and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 budget by $26,864 for the cost associated with the approval of one additional registered nurse position, revenues to come from unappropriated county general fund balance. Commissioner Webb?
Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Herbert, the second. Human Resources Committee was 5-4-0 against. Public Health Committee was 4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please.
As we've heard, Mr. Chair, the ongoing needs of the health department for not only testing, but also now with the COVID-19 vaccine. This will fund one additional position through the end of the fiscal year.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Bill,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson.
Hudson, yes.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lauders,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-13, a resolution to establish 2-year terms for the Office of Judicial Commissioner, office for the appointments and reappointments made subsequent to the adoption of this resolution. Commissioner Webb,
Move for approval.
Smith, second.
Commissioner Webb, the motion, Commissioner Smith, the second. There was no committee action on this. Commissioner Webb, explanation, please. You're muted, Commissioner Webb.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. The reasoning is the request to reduce the term from 4 years as allowed by the state to 2 years. I don't have a reason why. My question is, why do we want to do that? So if there's anyone from the judicial that can answer why we want to reduce the terms, that'd be good.
Mr. Chairman, this is Bobby Cook. I'm glad to answer that.
Okay.
The reasoning is, Commissioner, is that because it's a appointed office to a set term, the only way to remove them is by ouster. What this does is provide a little bit more accountability that the term instead of the 4 years is 2 years so that they get reviewed every 2 years instead of a 4-year term.
Thank you, Bobby. Good explanation.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Bill,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert,
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Commissioner Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-2014. Resolution to authorize the assessment of fees collected by the Williamson Center. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Second, Rainey.
Commissioner Rainey, the second. Public Health Committee was 4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, we do have Director Johnson on the call. This is an adjustment of the fees, and she's here to answer any specific questions if anyone has any.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Third, yes.
Commissioner Chalfont,
Chalfont, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner
Commissioner Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Commissioner Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Commissioner Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliff,
Tunnicliff, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 1-21-15, resolution to adopt the 2021 Williamson County Road List. Commissioner Webb.
Move for approval.
Smith, second.
Commissioner Smith, the second. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Highway Commission was 4-0 against. And I think we have to have an amendment to this. Commissioner Webb, do you have that, or?
I do not have an amendment, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, this is Roger. Get that first paragraph in the whereas. If you will remove the wordage that is included in that makes reference to in the month of January session, just remove that. The law has changed. It no longer needs to read January session.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that amendment that in the first paragraph of whereas to remove the language at its January session at the end of that paragraph.
Second.
There's second.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Lawrence, second.
Lathers, oh, Lawrence or Lathers.
Commissioner Lawrence, the second. Commissioner Smith, motion for the amendment. Any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello, Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Allsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Commissioner Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
And Commissioner Aiello, it looked like you may have tried to answer, but I didn't hear. So
Aiello, yes.
Thank you. 24 yes, 0 no.
The amendment passes. Now we're back to the original resolution as amended. Are there any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrooks,
Allsbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Beathard,
Beathard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum is yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, yes.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lathers,
Lathers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, yes.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, yes.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So 24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes as amended. Resolution 1-21-18. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners opposing proposed state legislation to modify healthcare facility certificate of need requirements and to oppose allowing the health services and development agencies to expire. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move for approval. Move for approval.
Herbert, second.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Public Health Committee was 3-4-1 against. Explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, as you guys know, this is in relation to Williamson Medical Center, which the county owns. Tennessee is what's known as a certificate of need state. The majority of states in the United States have a certificate of need process, which regulates the implication of healthcare facilities across the state. It's been that way for over close to 50 years within the state. Within recent years, there have been legislation at the state level that has lessened the regulations of CON, not necessarily to the benefit of Williamson Medical Center's interest. And with that, I do want to turn it over to Mr. Jeff Mosley and allow him to maybe go into a little bit more detail in history of the CON and the Health Services and Development Agency and their role.
Well, the certificate of need process is administered by the Health Services and Development Agency by state law. That agency is authorized to allocate the resources within the state based on demonstrated need for a particular service. The hospital has to take all comers, and it has to provide emergency service, indigent care, and charity care. The amendment that was offered last year to this, which may come back up and has some concern from the Board of Trustees, would have taken some of the outpatient services, specifically outpatient diagnostic centers, and in one version, ambulatory surgery centers, out from underneath certificate of need if the county had a population of over 175,000. There were only 2 counties in the state that this would have affected, because right now anybody over 250,000 already does not have that. One of them would have been Williamson County. The outpatient diagnostic centers and the ASCs are part of the profitable services provided by the hospital that offset some of the unprofitable services that they have to provide as a community's hospital. In addition, the mayor has identified that we do get indigent and charitable care from outside the county that is taken care of at Williamson Medical Center. And if the certificate need were allowed to expire next year, to sunset, that would put at risk other rural hospitals, which could increase the charitable and indigent care burden at Williamson Medical Center. And the hospital board, after looking at this issue, has consistently opposed amendment to the CON process or the expiration or sunsetting of the Health Services and Development Agency. And so that's really the 30,000 foot view. And this was brought to a head to some degree a little last year when Vanderbilt and St. Thomas filed certificate of need applications just across the county line in Rutherford County for services that would have drawn from the primary service area of Williamson Medical Center. The Vanderbilt certificate of need was denied by the agency. That's on appeal. So we're not going to get into the specifics of that as it's in active litigation. And Williamson Medical Center is one of the parties, but that did continue to focus this issue from the Board of Trustees standpoint. So I'll be happy to answer any questions I have. I believe Don Webb is on here and can address the operational issues and the impact of the CON probably a little better than I can.
Commissioner Story?
Yes, thank you. So I understand the aspect of if you remove the the certificate of need, the types of care that kind of draws that may be negatively effective for profitability, kind of those types of cases may show up. But from a flexibility and from a service standpoint of people who aren't necessarily directly accessible to Williamson County Medical, you're on the far edges of the county. How does that potentially negatively impact folks who are kind of outside the county that it would benefit them having something closer? Is there any kind of weighing of service for folks who are kind of on the fringes that could potentially benefit from service that's closer?
Well, I'll take the first shot, unless Don is on. Are you on, Don? I'm not hearing from him. basically the studies have shown that the services don't go unless there is a critical mass of population. So lesser populated areas don't have a tendency to draw those kind of services. But that having been said, the hospital board continually does a strategic planning initiative and completes that and looks at where it can put services in the outer non-Franklin areas of the county in order to try to meet those needs. They've got a clinic in Nolensville, they've got a clinic in Fairview. And they've helped with the health department in recruiting some physicians for those services as well. So that the best I can give you is the hospital believes through the strategic planning, it tries to address that. It is more likely that if the CON is abolished, you will get competitive services in the core primary service area of the hospital, which will decrease its economic viability.
Jeff, this is Julie Miller from the hospital. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, Julie.
Okay. I am on the call if you have any questions for me. And Don said he is trying to get on the call. He can hear you, but you cannot hear him.
Okay.
Commissioner Sturgeon?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to ask, it seems to me like this is an effort to eliminate competition. And in my line of thinking, competition usually increases the quality of services and lowers the price for the consumer. So how is that not the case? Why do we want to squelch competition? I mean, I know it's Williamson County's hospital, but I'm concerned about the consumer, our residents, having more choice and higher quality services because of that's usually what happens with competition.
But you don't have a free market, Commissioner. This is a highly regulated market where the reimbursement is in fact regulated by the government and by the insurance companies. And there are certain aspects that are not profitable that Williamson Medical Center has to take on by law, that the competitors, if they peel off just the profitable piece, would not have to, such as the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, such as the indigent care responsibilities of the licensure. Because this
how much indigent care does Williamson Medical Center actually provide?
The mayor has those figures. I don't have them at my fingertips. Julie, do you happen to know?
I don't have that number with me, but I believe Paul Bolin is still on the call. He might have that with his financial report.
Yeah, this is Paul. I mean, it's somewhere around $5 to $6 million a year.
And what's your total revenue for the year?
Our net revenue is around $250 million.
Okay. It's kind of a small percentage, don't you think?
Yes, but it reflects the people who live in our county.
Right. Okay, well, my opinion is this is a way to squelch competition, and right now I'm not for it. I'm not convinced that it's a good idea. So, thank you.
This is Julie Miller. The hospital currently, 70% of our total hospital operating revenue comes from these type of outpatient services that we are considering that the CON would, eliminate that proposed legislation. That's 70% of our current revenue.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Julie a question? This is Commissioner Lawrence. So could you clarify that a little more? 70% of what now would be affected by this?
Yes, sir. This is Julie again. So that would be outpatient services. So that could be items like imaging, ambulatory surgery center, those type of services that the CON is considering to exempt or eliminate with these CON changes.
Okay, and you're saying that would hurt the hospital because they would be able to come in and compete with you?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Well, I am, I agree with Commissioner Sturgeon on this. There's, everybody knows healthcare costs are going up. I am in that business, and this has been a very difficult year for most employers. There's a lot of small employers that are very struggling to be able to provide health insurance for their employees, and the cost of healthcare, of course, is directly related to how much insurance costs. So I think, we definitely need as much competition as possible to keep the cost down. And certificate of need typically it limits competition. And as a hospital, I know we don't really want the competition, but there's a bill right now that Medicare CMS is approved that's going to allow hospitals to treat 60 different diagnoses from home. So they would basically be able to be treated as if they were in the hospital, but get reimbursed, but they would be at home and be reimbursed accordingly through the hospital. So, that could open up a flood of new competition because those patients would not necessarily, they wouldn't be tied to a brick and mortar hospital. They would be treated by the hospital. They would be treated at home. And these are the kind of things that every business has to deal with. I mean, I'm a businessman. You have to deal with the changes in the marketplace, and and competition is part of that. And that's what makes the American economy such a dynamic marketplace, is competition. So I'm not in support of this because it does limit competition in a very in an area where Americans are really struggling to pay for healthcare right now.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Williams. Can I respond?
I see no other questions, so yes.
Thank you. That's the common argument against the CON process, is that it limits the free market, right? It limits competition. I don't think anybody's going to sit here and tell you that the CON process is perfect. It's not. However, it's the process that's been in place for nearly 50 years in the state. And quite honestly, that process has dictated how healthcare is developed across the state and in our community. So for instance, we have financially backed our own hospital, right, based off of the financial reports, its operational revenue, its survivability, right? We've structured that. I mean, most recently with the Bone and Joint Institute that we've done there, right? And so we have a vested interest in seeing Williamson Medical Center succeed. We also have a vested interest in making sure that our residents have access to care. Now, if it was truly a free market, then hospitals wouldn't be federally and state regulated to have to provide health care to people who could not pay, like an ambulatory surgical center can, like a lot of these outpatient services can. Basically, they can pick and choose who they want to provide services to, where a hospital is not allowed to do that. So at the end of the day, it's not a fair market. It's not a free market. And if you allow certain services to come in that can play by a completely different set of rules than what Williamson Medical Center for the last 50 years has organized itself around, that we as a Williamson County Commission have backed financially for, right? Not to mention that there's a coalition of well over 40 county mayors and hospital CEOs right now that are gearing up to fight this, right? And Williamson County is helping lead the charge. So the recent changes to the CON laws are not beneficial to Williamson Medical Center, and ultimately are not beneficial to our taxpayers, because should that hospital falter, right, and lose its ability to pay its bills, then we will be on the hook for that. This is good for Williamson Medical Center, and we need to express our voice from this county that we support our hospital, we support local control over our hospital, and it is actually very competitive on the market itself. So I don't think there's any problem with access to healthcare in this community. Commissioner Story asked earlier about people that live on the fringes of the county. I mean, there's 3 hospitals in Murfreesboro. There's a bunch of hospitals in Nashville. There's several hospitals out in the Dixon side. There's Murray County Regional. There is access to healthcare in this county no matter where you go. And in that regards, I will tell you that the CON process, even in its own imperfect way, has worked, right? There's no access, there's no denial to access to that care. Where the rural counties out there that are paying $15 to $16 million that we've heard from other hospitals and indigent care, right, on a much less total revenue, they're the ones that are in big trouble. So it affects us, it affects them in different ways, but we both have a united interest in seeing the CON stay in place so that our hospital can be protected against basically an unfair playing field. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is
Commissioner Lothers. All right, go ahead. Julie, you wanted to respond?
yes, sir. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead. Then we'll go to Commissioner Lothers.
Thank you, sir. I agree with what Matt was just saying, that a lot of these outside outpatient services that come, they are not regulated and only focus on the profitable services. And larger hospitals and health systems that come into our area cherry pick services. And Williamson Medical Center continues to look at the needs and services that the community needs, and we continue to grow and expand our footprint, and we continue to add services that are needed in the community.
Thank you. Commissioner Lothers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that probably Commissioner Williams kind of answered my question. I was just going to sum up for me, it appears that we're really trying to, again, have the profitable services offset the unprofitable services. Being a public hospital where there's a regulatory climate, I view this as protecting the financial, viability for the good services our residents receive. I understand ideological concerns always with free enterprise and competition. I understand that. But when you come in the pragmatic world of how something actually operates, we want to do what's in the best interest ultimately for the great services our residents are receiving. So with that, I'm in support of this, but I respect the others' opinions otherwise. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I do want to note that there is a typo that will be corrected in the, if there be now, therefore be it resolved, the year should be 2021 and not 2020. That is a typo, does not need an amendment. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please, Jeff.
Commissioner Aiello,
Aiello, yes.
Commissioner Alsbrooks,
Osbrooks, yes.
Commissioner Beal,
Bill, yes.
Commissioner Bethard,
Bethard, yes.
Commissioner Chalfant,
Chalfant, yes.
Commissioner Herbert,
Herbert, yes.
Commissioner Hester,
Hester, yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Hudson, yes.
Commissioner Dwight Jones,
Dwight Jones, yes.
Commissioner Ricky Jones,
Ricky Jones, yes.
Commissioner Landrum,
Landrum, yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Lawrence, no.
Commissioner Little,
Little, yes.
Commissioner Lothers,
Lothers, yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Mason, yes.
Commissioner Morton,
Morton, yes.
Commissioner Nations,
Nations, yes.
Commissioner Rainey,
Rainey, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Smith, yes.
Commissioner Story,
Story, no.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Sturgeon, no.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe,
Commissioner Tunnicliffe, yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Webb, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Williams, yes.
So 21 yes, 3 no.
Resolution passes. That concludes our resolutions. I do have an announcement. The office will be scheduling some more test meetings for the electronic voting system so that we do not have to do these roll calls and expedite the meetings. So please stay tuned and make every effort to join the test meeting so that we can get the bugs worked out. There will be emails coming out on that. Are there any other announcements or anything else?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, just tell Paul our thoughts and prayers are with you in the loss of your dad.
Thank you.
And also with you, Ricky, because you also lost your dad about 3 weeks ago to the same thing. So
COVID is a monster. COVID is a monster.
Yeah, I echo that. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for pushing through this. I know it was tough on you tonight, and but you hung in there and made it work. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I second that.
are you going to be able to cover the radio in the morning? Did Tom call you?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.